All right, Council of Dads here. We brought this up, I think, in the after show or right at the end of the show at some point, and it seemed like an interesting topic of discussion. What do you guys think about? Where do you land on teachers' unions slash unions in general?
Um, bearcrawling@gmail.com. That's what I'm going to say first. So I got to tell you, I'm torn.
That's all right, I'm torn.
And I think
Kurt's a little old.
unions have their place. I think they are put into place. Well, I'm trying to be as diplomatic as I possibly can with this.
Here, I'll break it for you if you want.
I mean, you can. Yeah.
He has a button with your voice on it that says unions suck. Yeah.
I think unions, they definitely have a place and a purpose, but I also think that a lot of unions have gone beyond that purpose, and they are abusive in a real sense, and they're not helpful in a lot of cases, and so there are instances where they are very useful, but there are also instances where they are very, very detrimental.
Yes,
it's tough. I've seen places where it definitely works because it helps with negotiations. It keeps both sides more or less honest. I without remembering the full details. Okay, I think it was UPS had that big union strike, and what the union was asking for did not seem outrageous from what was reported, at least, and they just needed to keep each other honest, right? That probably wouldn't have happened without a union. Don't know about how the rest of it works, but that seems like that's a time when it worked as it should have. I believe in being able to hold people accountable and being able to make agreements with people, and that's where unions kind of hurt. Because I the one time I got to go to California was to work IEEE show, and I was there with a host specifically, so I was there doing all her sound and recording her stuff specifically, and I could do that, but the union tech had to sit next to me. Now, he didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. His job was literally to sit next to us, and the conference had to pay him. And I was like, I kind of talked to him. I was like, dude, I mean, don't you get bored? He's like, yeah, it's good money, but it's good money. And, you know, not all gigs are like that where he just has, but 3 days, he just sat there all day.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, but why? But why though? You know, teachers unions. Oh yeah, okay, a random kid to this one. Actually, that's the other part of it, where a union just by saying so. But I was at a job one point.
You know what that's from, right?
He said the Newsies. I see it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you should have sang it.
Never seen it. I don't know.
Oh, it's great. It's great. But go ahead. Finish your thought.
All right. So, when you, like he's talking about, there was a point where I had a job where the top, it was a thin layer of top, right? There's only 4 or 5 board VIP, whatever they are. They were getting real stressed out because they were trying to sell the company, and they were getting super stressed out, and they kept trying to bring more and more pressure on us. The department specifically that I was in that kept this company afloat and really was what they were buying. And we didn't unionize, but I did lead the pack and said, look, just chill. Basically, I said, just chill. We're doing the work. We're turning out the numbers. And I even to my intermediary boss, I got real loud. She's like, well, you shouldn't say stuff like that. I'm like, they want to fire me. Because I guarantee you everybody else will leave. Nobody here is causing a problem. We're all supporting you in selling this building or this company, whatever it is. We're doing our job still to the best of our ability. Stop nitpicking everything and bringing so much pressure on us. And it wasn't a union, but it got them to go, all right, you know, he might not be right, but everybody else thinks he's right. So we got to chill out.
Right.
Yeah.
So It's weird. Part of the reason I'm torn is because I actually want to be in a union at some point, because as a voice actor, I can't get the good
Sure.
jobs if I'm not union. So there's that, but you can't get into the union unless you book a union job as a non-union actor. It's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, you can't be in the union until you book a union
There's some
job.
side
So
projects.
they're gatekeepers.
Yes, very much
Yeah.
so. But they also maintain the pay schedules. And so if you're in a union gig, you are guaranteed to get paid X amount of money.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh
with
man, I could quit my job today, go union on the movie sets as a AAMT, and make what did one of my employees said they made in a month? $20,000.
yeah,
In 1 month?
Yeah, but it was the hardest month of their life
right.
because very little sleep, long hours on set, hard conditions, whatever. But yeah,
So the places where I think unions are hurtful, frankly, I think is largely in the schools, the teachers' unions.
yeah,
My wife worked in a school for a while, and the cool thing is, like, nowadays it's illegal to force you to be in the union. What's not illegal is to charge you a administrative fee that's exactly the same price as the union dues,
yeah.
which everybody has to do. If you're not a part of the union, then you have to pay the administration fee, which is just crap. It's just crap.
Yeah.
It just, and so I was a member of a union when I was in high school because I had a part-time job at the telephone company. And it did me, I guess it the only good that it did me was it had already set the minimum pay for part-time employees, but
Yeah.
otherwise I got no benefit from it except for paying dues every paycheck. Yeah, it's
That's another
random
night.
kid. That's a great
Yeah.
great suggestion. Or as I like to call them, the neighborhood mafia. So
that's another night.
Yep, that is another night. But a great suggestion. Thank you for that.
For our podcast listeners, random kid brought up HOAs in the comments.
Yeah. So part of the issue with unions is, at the time that unions kind of became a thing, which was really turn of the 20th century, they were necessary. Absolutely 100% necessary. Because the abuse was running rampant. For certain industries, they're absolutely necessary. Industries like the trucking industry, frankly, because the unions make sure that there's at least a certain level of safety that has to happen, that truckers can only drive certain amount of hours per day, things like that. That is valuable. And you can see companies would absolutely abuse that. There's other ways around that, which is a tangent I'm not willing to go down right now, but there are other ways to protect against that. And it's going to sound like I have a big problem with teachers unions, and I think I generally do. And part of the problem is those teachers unions do not protect the teachers from also being abused. Like, I think that there are other issues, but the teachers still end up paying things out of pocket. They still pull longer hours than they get paid for, because they have to do right by the kids. And the unions do not deal with that enough. I will say they don't deal with that enough. They are not student focused as much as they are employee focused. So great. Teachers have more development workshop days. Cool. That means they get to work more. Just without students in the classroom. Awesome. So I don't know. I just think that I'd love to see the union game kind of reconfigured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's union should only. It's much like how I believe about college life. College should not be for everything out there ever and everybody should ever go. It should be for the things that truly need it, like doctors and lawyers. And you can even add classes like how to be an honest politician, or stuff that we don't have now.
Well, that's an
But
oxymoron.
yeah, all right. So a union really should mean the coming together of two parties. And sometimes it can, as we've talked about, and sometimes it can't. And that's why it's just a tough topic, because it's such a hot button word. I remember the first time I heard about a union, it was basically somebody scaring me about them, going, "Oh no, they take your money and they force you into this, and if you don't take that job," I mean, it was based on some kernels of truth, like dues, and yeah, you're in line, and so when they get you that job, you go to that job, and when it's over, it's over. But they really did it in this nightmare fashion. But at the same time, I worked for Georgia Pacific for about a year, and I was in management. So there's only two types of people. There was there was workers, and there was management, and they were the management. My bosses. I was a healthcare guy, so I was like the director of healthcare or something for the plant safety or whatever. They were terrified of unions because how it worked at UPS as us versus them mentality. Like, but why though? The Actors Guild, SAG.
Right.
There's probably some downsides to it, and then another sideways interest in getting into it and all that other jazz. But the two major strikes were over things that, if you really pay attention, I'm sorry, it's Writers Guild, not SAG. SAG supported, but it was Writers Guild that had a strike. But it's over things of like, are we seriously not updating their contract for a decade now when this new technology came out and they're not getting any money, but you are actually, as a studio, lining your pockets? That why okay, so we need a union then, because that's not right, man.
Right.
It's just, I hate it.